anymore.
Well, do you think it's possible in a multicultural society for there to be a unicultural myth or a system of myths? Is that too much to ask? Or is it
Well,
something we don't even
let me.
want to wish
I
for?
think that okay. This is. I think that. Man, it's like this is not. It's not fun to say, but I think that it is possible. But there has to be some kind of hierarchy.
Yeah.
It is inevitable.
And
In the sense that in the Roman Empire
okay,
was
somebody
multicultural, right?
yeah.
But
Okay.
everybody agreed that I'm going to connect my myths to the Roman myths, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it was okay to everybody had their gods and everybody had their practices, but they all found a way to say this is how it connects to
Yeah.
the Roman, okay?
Yeah.
And so because of that, the multiculturalism could exist
Yeah.
because
There's a
it was
confluence, yeah.
attached to, and you see that in the great great epic story of the West, let's say. There's this amazing desire to do that, right?
Yes.
And so it's like the Celts, you know, the Celts are the descendants of the Trojans, right?
Yeah.
They're a different son. They're a different Trojan from the Romans, but they're descendant from the Trojans. And so King Arthur isn't just a Celt; he's a Trojan, right?
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
now he can still be a Celt and have all that
Yeah.
Celtness in
Yeah.
himself, and be a Christian and be a Trojan, and it's
Yeah.
all connected in this kind of weird and interesting way. There's this weird desire. Like I was reading just the other day, someone asked me a question on Patreon, and it made me had research something, and I found this amazing legend from Hungary about how the Hungarians are descendants of Nimrod in the Bible, and how
he
basically
built the Tower of Babel.
exactly, but he was a hunter, right? And so Nimrod is the origin of all the nomadic people. And so they had this crazy legend where the Hungarians were connected to the Khans, but then also all the different nomadic people, the Huns, and all these different nomadic peoples kind of came out of Nimrod, and so it was a beautiful way to say, like, obviously nomadic people have a completely different way of existing and a different history and a different way of viewing the world than the sedentary people.
Yeah.
But as we become Christian, we say, okay, how can we connect? We can still have this kind of crazy barbarian history, but how can we connect it? And it's like, okay, we're descendant from Nimrod, and so here's this kind of warrior character who kind of gave birth to all these nomadic people, and it was like that's how it used to work. But now I don't see it. Now there's such a desire to not.
Yeah, there's not a
our
desire.
Multiculturalism it's a fragmented thing.
It's fragmenting. Yeah,
exactly. There's no desire to connect it somehow, even in story terms.
Well, I mean, I think there's a way. I think the correct story, there can be a lingua franca of myth. I'm certain of it. I think it's a huge project and it's going to take everybody, but I think it starts with the desire to be together and the desire to be related and to be related. And whatever it is that's kind of taken fire right now and lately, maybe it's just a satanic force, maybe it's just a phase that we're going through that's wanting us to attack people and to make difference. Maybe that'll go away, or maybe there's an anecdote to that. And I think the other path's better. I think it's more creative, it's more joyous. You get more food, you get more art, you get more of everything that's great about life if we're all working together.
But it's weird because it is a recent thing. I mean, not that long ago, right? There always were, like, let's say, immigrant communities, in Canada and in the U.S., obviously, because we're all at some point immigrated. And so, but there was a weird sense of, like, okay, we come to the United States. Let's say we come to the United States, and we become at some point first American. Still, like, I'm an American. I'm an American. Then I'm Irish and Scottish and Italian and this. But I think what's happening now is that it's kind of it's a weird reverse, or it's more like people really holding on to their other national identity first, or maybe it's just because it's just a question of time too. Maybe it's because of the quantity. Like all of a sudden there's a lot of immigration, and it's just going to take time for people to kind of come together and find a common identity. I mean, hopefully we'll survive it. But it seems like for sure it's different now. It's different than it was. Like, I mean, you can see it here in Quebec, right? So in Quebec, we have several communities, right? And it's not like there we're in conflict between the communities, but let's say there's a town nearby where I am where it's in French here, right? There's a town right next to my town which has a lot of Irish people, right? And so they still speak English, they're still Irish, and they have St. Patrick's Day parade, and they do that, and they've been here for more than 100 years, but it doesn't feel like it's pulling away from a common participation in society. Like, it doesn't feel like it's like I'm Irish before I'm Canadian, right? It's like, no, it's just like, yeah, I'm Irish, and it's part of my history, and I still want to acknowledge that, but I still kind of I still kind of cohere into everything else.